I think throughout the years, the Final Fantasy series and I have developed a kind of abusive relationship. Yes, we started making passionate love. The hours, days, weeks, months, years I've invested in this series, only I know. I have finished Final Fantasy 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, Crisis Core, Dirge of Cerberus, 7 Remake, 8, 9, 10, X2, 12, 13, 13 Part 2, and 15. I have played the likes of Type O, Tactics, Tactics Advance, Crystal Chronicles, Dissidia, Dissidia Duodecim, Dissidia NT. I have also played Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, and I am actually thinking about buying it to make more online content. So leave a comment down below if you think this is a good idea. Alright? What do I want to say with all of this? Simple. I know my Final Fantasy. Okay? I know my Final Fantasy. I will forever love how this series made me feel. I just don't know if the series loves me back. If the series loves us, gamers, back. I haven't played Final Fantasy 16. I am a gamer on a budget. So that implies that I do not own a PS5 yet. But anyways, I think what I'm trying to say is that Stranger of Paradise is a love letter from a lover that has made me so happy throughout the years. A lover that has accessed layers and levels of emotions that no other had come close in doing so. A lover that, for better or worse, had something deeply meaningful to tell me that would make me wonder day and night about it. A lover that, in a sense, made me question fate and precepts, which I wouldn't have done so otherwise. For you to understand, during my teenagehood, I studied in a Catholic school. While I was enticed, hypnotized by Final Fantasy X. So this game brought lots of questionings to my mind, and I will always be grateful to this game and to the powerful message a Final Fantasy game always was a synonym for a Final Fantasy game to carry a powerful, defiant message. And this was the main reason why I loved this series so much. I still do, like I said. But suddenly, out of nowhere, this lover simply decided that he had to choose between being intelligent, deep and intelligent, or just being pretty. I think Final Fantasy got lost. I don't know if it still is, but I think until now, the Final Fantasy series is lost, and Square Enix, to an extent, is lost in showing how beautiful their games can be, instead of showing how meaningful they are. They have been showcasing some of the most shallow piece of, I'm not gonna call it a piece of garbage, but something that I would never invest my money. So one has to wonder what happened to Square Enix and also its main series. And before you come for me in the comment saying, what about Final Fantasy VII Remake? Final Fantasy VII Remake? Yes, Final Fantasy VII Remake is amazing, incredible. I love that game. Very low replay value, but I love that game. It's phenomenal. It changed stuff that it shouldn't. It changed stuff which I still cannot say if they changed for the better, but for me, they were strange choices. Questionable even. But at its core, it's a phenomenal journey. But it's a remake. It was already built upon something that we all loved. Oh, at least like most of us. 99% of us. Come on, face it. You love Final Fantasy VII. It might not be your favorite, but you love it. It was the equivalent of picking up the fondest of memories and giving it new colors and a breath of fresh air, a new scent, and more meaning, even more meaning. It's beautiful and poetic in every sense. But it's a memory, not less. Alright? Final Fantasy was always more about a ping pong of reinventing itself here and now while self-referencing its legacy. And I love this about the series. So, could Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origins, be like that previous lover for my metaphor, whom I fell in love with so many years ago? Or is it just somebody that I used to know? A stranger, dressed and posing as a long-lost love that is alive maybe only in my memories? Or is it a reminder that I must move on? Welcome everyone. I'm the Gamer on a Budget, and this is going to be a very emotional I must say that I felt a bit skeptical about the game when the first trailer came out. It was ridiculous. That's the T. It was ridiculous. The protagonist yelled, "Let's kill chaos," at least 20 times. Also, there was something good about the trailer, because I felt intrigued by his daddiness. When I looked at Jack, I thought to myself, did they change their mind about making a more adult man in his 30s the protagonist? Because Bosch was supposed to be the protagonist of Final Fantasy XII, but they changed it to actually, it was a salad. Love Final Fantasy XII. My top 3 Final Fantasy. Okay? But I think we would have enjoyed, or the fans would have enjoyed more if Bosch was actually the protagonist, as he was built to be, Bosch and Ash, instead of Vaughn, who lost every bit of motivation. It was just there. So I felt intrigued by Jack's daddiness, because If you told me, for example, Final Fantasy 15, if you told me that they were a J-pop band going to a concert, I would have believed. I would have believed in it, you know, because they were they were very peculiar. Loved all of them, but it was by far. Well, speaking of like diversity and all that, it wasn't a very diverse cast. You know, they were all in a way very similar bros. I felt so. I might be wrong, but like my opinion. All right, and not only that, uh, Vaughn, Tidus, Squall, Cloud, and any other protagonist could totally be considered like the pretty boy archetype. So to see Jack's manliness combined with the face of a twink who just transitioned quite well in his daddy years into his daddy ages, you know, is a nice change of pace. Also, playing the game's demo made me feel even better about the game per se. Great mechanics, good visuals, interesting settings, and voice acting. I felt like it was a variant, gameplay wise, of Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I assume Square is gonna explore and maybe milk it more in their as they should. I'm never gonna advocate towards the turn-based combat because I honestly it's not for me. I don't think it works. I don't think it's I don't think it's nice anymore when you want so much realism, when you want like to see the pores of your characters, and also you want to show something visceral, tell a visceral story and all that, and I have to wait my turn to attack just because gameplay wise gives me more strategy. I don't think so. No, it should explore more real time combat, and the combat is really cool in this game. All right, real time battles, revamped soundtrack, and the job system. It felt like I was playing the original game, like the devs' vision back in the day. But due to resources and technology, the technology back then, they could not execute it that well. To my surprise, the final product was not that different from the demo. Gameplay wise, there were tons of weapons, of new weapons and jobs, and most are very fun. But my guess is that because of the game difficult learning curve, you will choose a path and master it. You will choose two jobs that are going to match with the play style, and you're gonna go for it until the end. All right. My favorite character to play in Final Fantasy VII Remake was Tifa. So I obviously went for the pugilist path, but since I'm a sucker for samurais and katanas in general, I chose the ninja job, but then I ended up preferring the samurai path. So I chose the Ronin path for my second job, and in my opinion, this is a glimpse also of what Final Fantasy XII could have been, if could be actually, if it if they decide to remake it in current times. I'm not talking about the remaster. I love the remaster, you know. So if I believe this is exactly what Final Fantasy XII should be. I love what it is, but I think this is the path for that game, you know. So if they ever want to remake it and add more to the story, you know, give more meaningful moments, put more cutscenes and all that, you know, wrap it up a little bit better. Maybe Final Fantasy 12 could be the next best. Final Fantasy 12 remake could be the next best installment in the series, right? So it's impossible to talk about this game without mentioning the series' track records. I saw an amalgamation of many modern Final Fantasy mechanics in Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I see it here. But I do think they worked better on Final Fantasy VII Remake than they do here. And the sole reason for that is that Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origins. If I say Strangers in Paradise, it's just because I don't know, for some reason it sounds better in my mind like this. Alright? But Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origins tries too hard and very inefficiently so to be a blend of Dark Souls, Neo, Final Fantasy 13, Final Fantasy 15, and 7 Remake. Whereas it should remove the Souls-like element. It should, whereas it should remove the Souls-like element and embrace a more Neo aspect. Final Fantasy 12, 13, 15, 7 Remake, and Nier Automata. It should embrace these mechanics, and I said it once and I'll say it again. Dark Souls combat sucks. It just sucks. But I absolutely love what the series brought to the table in terms of grandiosity, you know. It is nice to have a more challenging RPG. Not an unfair challenge like Dark Souls, but to have like a more challenging Final Fantasy. It's always nice. I think the parry and the dodge systems of Stranger of Paradise are bad. They should be much better, like Neo and Nier Automata respectively. But I think the pacing of the combat is good. Like 15, though it was a bit convoluted, and 7 Remake, prime of the series. I love it. I also think your partners in combat are stupid, like in 7 Remake and 15. Do you remember Prompt dying every time? Do you remember your 7 Remake characters never escaping from, never dodging anything and basically placing themselves in front of the enemy attack? You know? They should have Stranger of Paradise should have a gambit system like Final Fantasy 12, and that's something that I will never understand. Why doesn't Square go back with the gambit systems to deal with the party members that you're not controlling? You know, I also think the job system is very good, like Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac Age, but because you can only control Jack in battle, you can control the others too. But like, why would you? Because they only have one job, and Jack is the main character. Jack can have two jobs, so like, you mostly control Jack in battle. It does not matter if your partner has any cure spells, any healing spells, because the AI sucks. Like like Final Fantasy VII Remake and 15. A gambit system would do wonders in this game, because then we would be able to customize your party's actions and the combat would be optimized. As it is, it does not matter if your companion is a mage or sage, they will be as unhelpful as Donald Duck in Kingdom's Heart. What about the music, you ask? What about the lore? What about character development? They are there and they work most of the time. How much do you really remember from the original Final Fantasy? If your answer is not much, then the story will be confusing at times but serviceable. Serviceable at best. It will not change your life. It will not make you lie in bed thinking about the existence of a god, or what is wrong, or right, or what paths to follow and all that. It will have a prologue, 3 acts, and a very extensive epilogue, aka post-game. That's that. Which basically consists in you have pieces of lore if you buy the DLCs, which you should, because they're interesting. I haven't finished them yet, so I'm not gonna focus on them very much, but of what I've seen, I have enjoyed a lot. Now, if you remember something from the original or something from the Cydia, then you might really enjoy how this tale unfolds. It will make a difference for you. I, for one, loved it, because I do remember more the Cydia than the original Final Fantasy. But I do remember the original Final Fantasy. But I will not spoil why, because I do think this story should be did I say it right? I do think that this story should be savored, like a delicious premium chocolate. It will give you pleasure, melt in your mouth, and leave you with an incredible aftertaste. But it's just chocolate, and your body will not take any good advantage from it. Your munchies will, and sometimes it's fine. It's just great, you know. Jack is a very interesting protagonist, and since he's a daddy and not a twink, he will not nag about like a boring teen, like a boring teen or a young adult, you know. He will grunt and punch like a testosterone-filled man with no time to waste because he really wants to kill chaos, and he has no time for shenanigans. I love his responses. And what could be considered, and might be for many people, might be considered bad writing, I applaud it, and call it pragmatic storytelling. I wish more JRPGs told more and, well, better pragmatic storytelling. I read a long time ago, I don't remember when, that Final Fantasy devs and producers wanted Final Fantasy to go back on being a reference in RPGs. And after the somewhat fiasco of Final Fantasy 15, don't care about the numbers. And it doesn't matter that I really enjoy the game. If you need a comic book, a mobile game, a movie, ta-da-da, 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 padam, 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 to like get engaged, like engage yourself with the story before playing the very expensive game, and then like wait for 7 DLCs to tell the story that was supposed to be in the final product. I am sorry, but this to me reeks of a fiasco. This is bad business. And Final Fantasy 15 is a cautionary tale of don't try to do too much, or it will be a fiasco. Alright? But I'm very happy to say that Stranger of Paradise can hold its own. It's a full game. You don't need the DLC to enjoy the entire story. Everything is there, and it's fantastic to be able to say this, especially because Square was having its blunders and like with the Avenger games and all that, microtransactions and all that. Either in this here, you can buy the season pass, but it's not mandatory for you to get the plot. I love that. I love everything about this. Okay. Uh, the music, on the other hand, is forgettable. The characters are there and entertain, but you will only remember Jack, to be honest. But the game does a masterclass on building upon its very solid foundation, finally bringing to life the Final Fantasy that saved Squaresoft from bankruptcy a long time ago. The Final Fantasy that was envisioned, and that is no small feat. That is a stupid choice, which I don't know who had this brilliant idea, but we have, and it was always like this, alright? 4 Warriors of Light. However, you can only bring in your party 3 members. Why? The game was released in 2022. The technology was there. There is absolutely no excuse for this. This dynamic of like having to find a save point to change party members. No, put everyone there. It's the saga of the Warriors of Light. They never go apart. Well, almost never. But, it's their story as much as it is Jack's. So this is a huge problem. And the game will lose marks because of this. Alright. Overall, the game takes brave steps towards the right direction, but also steps back a little for some reason. Let it be a Final Fantasy game first and foremost. Then, after it establishes itself as a Final Fantasy game, you worry about making it a Souls-like copy or whatever. But let it establish itself as a Final Fantasy game before trying to be something else. Something that it shouldn't. Final Fantasy should not be Souls-like. Final Fantasy should explore new grounds. And if you want to borrow some elements from other games, it should borrow from games such as Nier Automata. It should borrow from games such as Neo, which, although it's a Souls-like, I think it's more refined, much more refined. That being said, you will find yourself, if you plan on investing in this game, which you should, totally should, you will find yourself really enjoying a dark and intriguing fantasy world that will probably make you yearn for more. You will sink your teeth in the combat and drain it until you can no more. And you will have so much fun doing so. It's funny. Just like a lover. The lover from a metaphor in the beginning. A lover that wants you back and decides to write a love letter, a bit rough around the edges. You will find this lover may have understood the error of their ways. And even if they are too vain at times, they really want to make you have fun again. Different from how it was. in a more mature and reimagined way. And who knows? Maybe you feel like trying again, for old time's sake. I know I did, and my god, I still do. I give Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origins an 8.5. Thank you for watching. What did you think of the game? Leave a comment down below, subscribe today, and don't forget to check the channel for more content. I'll see you all, and thank you very much.